Donald Trump just set a trap for the Democrats going into the midterms. And guess what? They took the bait.
With more on all this madness, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt. I didn't know you caused such a stir and such a controversy. I mean, how horrible that you took pictures of American champions that made us proud, that are proud of their president, their country, and proud to represent us.
Well, I didn't know it caused such a controversy either, Sean, until I just saw that headline flash on the screen, and I'm truly appalled. I saw a lot of Democrat commentators today spiraling out of control, grasping at straws, trying to find any excuse to criticize President Trump's exceptional speech last night, and they have a very hard time doing so. It's even forced them, as you just pointed out, to turn against the great men and women who brought home gold medals for the first time in 46 years since the Miracle on Ice. These are great men. They're patriots. They are great athletes who represented our country at the highest level of sports. And the president was so proud to present them to the joint Congress last night. Both Democrats and Republicans should be able to stand up and clap for these young men who made our country so proud on the world stage. But unfortunately, it appears that Democrats, their brains have been so debilitated by Trump derangement syndrome that they can't even root for Team USA. They can't even stand when the president calls on them to do so for American citizens who they swear an oath to protect.
This is a huge issue for the Democrats, and there were 2 or 3 times during the State of the Union where Trump laid this trap. And this was one of them. With the hockey team coming out, the Democrats didn't get up. They didn't cheer for them because they wanted to create a wedge issue where there was some kerfuffle between the men's hockey team and the women's hockey team, U.S. hockey teams, both of which won the gold medal. There was nothing there. There was nothing there at all. And the Democrats in the chamber here not standing for the team, everyday Americans saw this. Everyday Americans have a big issue with not cheering on Olympic athletes when they go over and represent our country overseas. So Carolyn's exactly right. This was the first trap that Donald Trump set, and the Democrats took the bait.
You know, if you go back in time, I mean, we have clips we played on this program of Barack Obama and Bill Clinton, and even Chuck Schumer saying you need ID or else it lends itself to corruption and fraud. And that was the Democratic Party then. This party does not even represent Barack Obama or Bill Clinton. And I thought, especially in the case of Barack Obama, he was pretty far left. Now, I think the absolute genius in the speech last night, and I want to know if you agree, is the president created the greatest, comparative choice election
so it's a commercial,
this country will ever
a
face.
campaign commercial.
If you think it's the first duty of the government to protect American citizens and not illegals, stand with us. They didn't stand, Caroline. They sat. What does that say?
It shows their true colors, Sean. President Trump set the Democrats up in a trap, and they fell right into it because they cannot help themselves. They truly stand on the side of the tens of millions of illegal aliens who they allowed to pour in to our nation's open borders under the Biden administration. They truly stand on the side of career criminals who have gone to jail not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 12 times in the case of the young woman in North Carolina whose neck was slit by a career criminal who was released back onto the streets in North Carolina by Democrat policies, and they could not even stand for her heartbroken mother who President Trump was commending last night. They couldn't even stand for a young girl who is now suffering a brain problem for the rest of her life because of an illegal alien truck driver who smashed into her family's vehicle. It was so despicable to be in that chamber and to watch as these Democrats really did show their true colors. But to your point, the president, it was a brilliant.
I want to pause it here because, again, if you can scan through the left side here of the pan that's going on, what the Democrats were doing with each one of these traps that was being set is they'd look around at each other and see if somebody else was going to stand up. What they're not doing is 2 things. First, They're not standing up for their duty, their sworn duty to stand up for all American citizens. The second thing they're not doing is look at these. These individuals represent districts and states all across the country. What they're not doing is they're not sticking up for the American citizens that are all within their voting districts. Instead, they did what sheep do. They looked around. Is anybody else going to stand up? And incidentally, this young lady in the red here, right in the middle, that's standing up right on the middle part of the divide between the Republicans and Democrats, she's a Republican congresswoman from Florida, and she intentionally and wanted to sit in that seat so that she could be the first person to show you the difference between the Democrats and the Republicans and who was willing to stand and for what. So the Democrats, this was their second trap. They fell right into it, and Carolyn is exactly right.
Idea. It was his idea to put that into the speech, and it proved to be right because he wanted the American people to know that this is a choice between common sense and President Trump and Republicans and crazy radical Democrats who stand for nothing except for being against Donald Trump.
I agree with what Sean Hannity just said. This will be playing out in the midterms because what the Democrats did is they showed their true colors, and they also gave each one of the Republicans that are up for vote in the midterms a perfect re-election campaign commercial. Because the contrast again between where the progressive radical left is, they are no longer the party of Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, Jimmy Carter. Each one of these individuals, Bill Clinton, Obama, and Hillary, are on the record during speeches where they were out stomping the grounds, trying to get reelected, talking about the importance of closing the borders and enforcing our immigration laws. And now, the new Democrat Party under Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, and Hakeem Jeffries, they can't stand. They won't stand for something as simple as putting the American citizens' interests first and over anybody that's here illegally. This was a perfect trap. They fell for it. And incidentally, the math going into midterms traditionally favors the party that doesn't have the White House. So that bodes well for the Democrats and does not bode well for President Trump and the Republicans. This issue, though, and this is where Sean and Carolyn were going, this issue will be the deciding factor in the midterms. Donald Trump just won this. That's a big deal as we gain momentum and get prepared for midterms. Let me know what you think. Drop a comment down below. Do you agree with Carolyn Leavitt? Do you agree with the traps that Donald Trump set? And if you've yet to subscribe to America First Alerts, please do so. We'd love to have you along for the ride.
We won!
Okay, let's go.
We won!